Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today I'll be explaining the Captain Alteration system in Star Trek Online. As always, chapters to each topic are listed down below. First up, I want to explain what Captain Alteration is. It is a system within Star Trek Online that gives you the ability to change your captain's race and or gender. Each alteration will require the use of a single Captain Alteration token, and I'll explain how to get those here in a moment. And you may change your character as many times as you want, so if you don't like the change that you've made, it can be reversed. And as for restrictions, the Captain Alteration tokens give you quite a few options, but you are going to be limited to the options that are available to your faction. So you are only able to change to the species and genders that your faction has access to. So, for instance, if you're a Romulan player, you could convert your Romulan over to a Romulan faction alien, but you couldn't use it to convert a Federation human over to a Jem'Hadar. And given the faction limitations, this does also mean that if you have a Federation sub-faction character, for instance, one that is a TOS or Discovery character, you are limited to the options available to that sub-faction. You cannot go in and convert your TOS or Disco Fed over to a normal Fed. So keep that in mind that there are limitations to what you can do with these. It's the same options that you would see like when you're going in and making a new character. So if you're like Discovery Starfleet, you're going to be limited to the options that has. And some factions don't have gender options, for instance, Dominion. So there's going to be some cases where the only option you're going to have is one other race. To obtain Captain Alteration tokens, you have two routes that you can go. You can purchase them directly through the Zen store. Just go to the Items tab and search for Alteration. You can purchase these either on their own or in a 3-pack. The individual token is going to set you back 750 Zen, and the 3-pack is available for 1500 Zen, which is 15 US dollars. Now, the alternative is that you can purchase these off of other players via the player exchange. You can search for Captain Alteration token either under all or under the Starship Upgrade category. And right now, the going rate as of me recording this video on September 4th, 2024, is around 60 to 70 million EC per Captain Alteration token. Once you have a Captain Alteration token in your inventory, simply head over to your nearest tailor and you can use the token there. Upon opening the tailor, at the bottom you'll see a button to change species. Now, before you do this, I would highly recommend that you save the outfits for that character, because when you use one of these Captain Alteration tokens, it is very likely that the costumes you have are going to be reset to some default configuration. So if you want to be able to at least load parts of them back, save them before you use the token, and then load them back in afterwards. So once you have that done, you've saved your outfits, you can then go and hit the change species button. And again, like I said before, you are limited to the options available to your faction. So I am on a Romulan, and if I wanted to swap over to a Romulan alien, I would just hit that. I have the option to remain as a male, or I can swap this character over to a female if I want. So I'm going to keep this as a male Romulan alien, and I'm going to apply the token. And it is possible that your skill tree and your traits will also be reset with this. Some people have had that happen, some people have not. There's a little bit of randomness to it, but just go in with the expectation, again, that your uniforms will be reset, and your skill tree and traits will probably be reset also. I'm going to hit purchase. Okay. And I have now swapped over to the Romulan alien male. And you can see, some of the stuff on my costumes may have been lost. Some of these seem to have transferred over perfectly fine. And if I wanted to go back in and load an outfit to try and bring it back to as close to what it was before, I can just click that outfit to modify. And I can then load outfit. You might have to hit the checkbox here for just outfit. And I can see here it is the second one. Load. And it will try to bring it back as close as possible. So you can go and play around with this, try to get your costumes, back the way that you want. You can see that there's a few things that were not properly restored here, like the cape isn't there, stuff like that. So I would have to go in and redo that manually. But that is how you use these Captain Alteration tokens. And again, it does advertise that it may reset your skill tree and the traits that you have slotted. So in my instance here, it did do that. I did have some instances where this did not occur when using one of these tokens, but in this case here, it did do what it says. It did reset my skill tree, and all of my traits have been reslotted. I haven't lost any traits, it's just that I would have to go back through now and reslot them, along with redoing my skill tree following using this token. So just make sure you're setting some time aside to be able to go through and take care of all of that when using one of these tokens. And lastly, I want to go over the best options for each faction. Now, for most of these, the best option is going to be Alien. Alien is going to give you some additional options in the tailor, but if you're looking for something that's actually going to net you a performance increase, the alien species does get access to an 11th trait slot for both your personal ground and personal space trait slots. So if you're looking for something that is going to give you a performance gain, in most cases, swapping over to the alien option for your faction is going to be what you're going to want to focus on. Now, for some of these, you don't have alien as an option. For Starfleet, Klingon, and Romulan, those all have alien options. For Discovery Starfleet, that does also have an alien option, so you can do that there as well. For TOS Starfleet, there is currently no alien option, but I believe when this token was first being announced, they'd mentioned that they want to try and add an alien option to this later on, but it's been a few months now and we haven't seen that. So right now, I don't think I would burn a token on a TOS Starfleet character unless you just really wanted to swap over from like human to Andorian or Vulcan for like RP reasons or something. And for Dominion, if you have a Jem'Hadar, I would very much recommend you upgrading it to a Jem'Hadar Vanguard. The trait that Jem'Hadar Vanguard get is called Engineered Soldier. And the nice thing with this trait is that it is going to be netting you 5% Cat 1 weapon damage, 7.5% crit severity, and 4.5% critical chance. So this is a really nice boost, and again, only Jem'Hadar Vanguard have this. So if you have a Jem'Hadar character, this is very much worth going through and upgrading your character over to a Vanguard 4. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to get any other additional trait slots alongside that, but I think we can all agree that that damage buff and the crit chance and severity, that alone is quite worth it. And to summarize everything, if you're looking for the best performance upgrade for most factions, then Alien is going to be the way to go for most of the factions out there, thanks to the alien species unlocking an 11th personal space and ground trait slot. If you're a Jem'Hadar, Vanguard is a very great upgrade versus the standard Jem'Hadar, thanks to the powerful innate damage and crit boosting trait that the Vanguard have. Another nice benefit of the Captain Alteration system is that if you made a character in the very early days of the game, and you always wanted that character to be a species that the faction didn't have access to at the time, or maybe you just didn't have access to at the time, for instance, some of them that are locked behind a lifetime subscription, then you can use this Captain Alteration token to swap over to that species if you have that species unlocked. Another example of that would be, again, the Jem'Hadar Vanguard. If you made a Jem'Hadar day one but didn't have the Vanguard unlock, you can now use one of these tokens to convert that Jem'Hadar over to a Vanguard. So, for those of you that always wanted your character to be a different species, this is a really great addition to the game. Now, the only negative that you're going to see here is that your costumes, your skill tree, and your slotted traits will most likely be reset or deslotted upon you using a Captain Alteration token. Now, you're not going to lose any of your traits. If this does happen, it will just deslot them, meaning that you're just going to have to spend some time going in and redoing your skill tree, redoing your costumes, and putting your traits back on your loadout. So do expect to need to set some time aside to fix those issues afterwards. Overall, this system enables us to customize and adapt our characters over time. It is a good addition to the game and will let us try new things out without needing to make new characters. And that's going to be it for today. I hope this video helped you out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. But as always, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. See you guys around.